after the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation officially announced that Russian troops had liberated the settlements of Ivanovka and Berestovoy, the Ukrainian General Staff unexpectedly recognized that the Russian army had launched an offensive in the Kupiansk direction of the front, in particular on the Kremenny-Svatov-Kupiansk line. At the same time, it is worth noting that despite the official statement of the Russian Ministry of Defense, the Ukrainian military department still does not recognize the losses of Berestovoy and Ivanovka by the armed forces of Ukraine. According to the Ukrainian military, fighting is allegedly still going on in these settlements, and the armed forces of Ukraine are taking active actions to stabilize the situation. Meanwhile, commenting on the situation in the Kupiansk direction of the front, military experts from American and European analytical centers also recognized the successes of Russian troops in this sector of the front. According to them, the units of the armed forces of Ukraine were knocked out of Ivanovka by soldiers of the 47th Division of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, and that this village is under the full control of the Russian army. As for the village of Berestovoy, Western experts stated that as of May 24, 2024, 80% of the territory of this village was under the control of Russian troops, and that with a high degree of probability, by today, the Russian army has taken control of the remaining 20% of the territory of this settlement. According to Russian war correspondent Boris Razin, the decision of the Ukrainian High Military Command to begin transferring reserves of the Ukrainian army to the Kharkiv direction of the front allowed Russian troops to achieve significant successes almost along the entire line of combat contact. Even pro-Ukrainian Western analysts began to admit that the Ukrainian General Staff had fallen into a real trap, as a result of which the Ukrainian army began to lose a large number of settlements in all key areas of the front. As it turned out, the Russians used a limited contingent of up to 3,000 soldiers during the offensive in the northern part of the Kharkiv region. This indicates that the main goal of the Russian army was not to seize territories in order to create a so-called buffer zone, but to force the Ukrainian General Staff to begin transferring all its reserves precisely to this direction of the front. And, judging by what is happening at the front right now, the Russians have managed to achieve their goals. The commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, General Syrskyi, is still transferring the Ukrainian army's reserves to the Kharkiv region, including combat-ready brigades from other directions of the front. As a result, the Russians began not only to methodically destroy Ukrainian forces in the northern part of the Kharkiv region, but also to attack the weakened positions of the armed forces of Ukraine in other areas of the front. The ardent desire of the Ukrainian General Staff to stop the offensive of Russian troops in the northern part of the Kharkiv region may finally break the backbone of the Ukrainian army. However, the Kiev regime still does not want to admit that the Russians managed to lure the Ukrainian armed forces into a real trap in the Kharkiv region. Moreover, Ukrainian propaganda and Vladimir Zelensky himself claimed that the transfer of the Ukrainian army's reserves to the northern part of the Kharkiv region was the right decision. By the way, during an interview with journalists, Zelensky said that thanks to the transferred reserves, the Ukrainian army allegedly managed not only to stop the advance of Russian troops in the northern part of the Kharkiv region, but also to establish combat control over the section of the border, where Russian soldiers began their offensive on May 10, 2024. At the same time, Zelensky refused to say where exactly this section of the border is located. By the way, Zelensky's statement caused real anger among the citizens of Ukraine. Many Ukrainian citizens in their social networks called Vladimir Zelensky a genuine liar. According to them, this comic actor continues to blatantly lie and talk about non-existent victories, while the armed forces of Ukraine lose their positions in settlements almost every day. Meanwhile, the situation of the armed forces of Ukraine continues to deteriorate rapidly in the Donetsk direction of the front. So, according to war correspondents, only a few days remained before the complete transition of the strategically important city of KRASNOGOROVKA under the control of the Russian army. The successes of Russian troops in this settlement are so obvious that even Ukrainian propaganda is no longer able to hide the truth. Surprisingly, even Ukrainian sources admitted that Russian troops managed to take control of the central part of this city. Moreover, Ukrainian telegram channels confirmed that the grouping of the armed forces of Ukraine under the designation Khortytsia actually turned out to be half-encircled in the Solnikny microdistrict. According to them, at the moment, Ukrainian soldiers are trying to retreat towards the Vostokny microdistrict. However, massive artillery strikes do not allow the Ukrainian military to get out of the semicircle. In this situation, it becomes clear the Ukrainian soldiers are completely cornered, and if they will not surrender, they will definitely get killed by the Russian artillery. At the same time, it is worth noting that the command of the grouping of the armed forces of Ukraine under the designation Khortytsia admitted that they do not have reserves to stabilize the situation in KRASNOGOROVKA. All this indicates that this city will be surrendered to the Russian army in the coming days. Meanwhile, on May 27, 2024, the Russian S-400 air defense shot down an enemy MiG-29 fighter jet, which tried to drop American GBU-39 guided aerial bombs on the positions of Russian troops in the Volchansk area. It is reported that the destroyed fighter jet previously belonged to the Slovak Air Force. According to available information, the Russian S-400 air defense system destroyed an enemy fighter jet while in the Belgorod region. According to witnesses, the wreckage of the fighter jet fell in the southern part of Volchansk, and that both pilots were killed.